Hey, what's up, everyone? Thank you so much for joining us. This is episode number 4 of Highlighting the Best of Youth Sports, brought to you by Numbers Don't Lie Productions. Here we go. Welcome to Highlighting the Best of Youth Sports, where we bring you insights from top athletes, their sports journey, and those positively impacting the youth sports community. If you're ready like we are, let's go! Today's show is with NDL Nation Ambassador, young baseball standout Kayson Cunningham, who plays for the top-ranked Alamo Drillers organization. Also joining us on this show is Kayson's father, Marco Cunningham, a former professional baseball player and founder and coach of the Alamo Drillers. We covered a lot of things in this episode, including Kayson's journey in sports so far, including playing baseball at the highest levels and enjoying some special experiences, including playing and winning in Cooperstown, New York, home of the Baseball Hall of Fame. We also get some advice and insights from Mr. Cunningham on balancing family life, school, and sports, and advice for parents looking at the competitive sports journey. Real quick, before we get into the interview with Kayson, please remember to subscribe, rate, and review. That's how we're going to grow this show. Also, if you could, share this show and this episode with someone who will get some value from it. You can also send us a message and let us know how we're doing. Let us know what you would like to see and who you would like to see on this show. Now let's get into this episode. I want to welcome Kayson Cunningham and Marco Cunningham here with us today on Highlighting the Best of Youth Sports. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to be here today. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. Thanks for having us.
Good. Thank you, guys. All right, Kayson, we're going to start off with you, buddy. We're very excited to chat with you about your sports journey. And then for those that may not be familiar with who you are, can you take a few minutes and tell us about yourself, how old you are, and what sports you compete in?
Well, I'm 13 years old. My favorite sport is baseball. I compete with baseball and basketball. Yeah, that's pretty much I love sports.
And where are you from, Kayson?
Oh, I'm from San Antonio, Texas.
San Antonio, Texas. What football team you guys like?
I like the 49ers.
He's been brainwashed. He's been brainwashed.
49ers and living in Texas? That's not allowed, is it?
Well, I grew up in California,
Okay.
and he was born in Arizona, but he grew up out here in Texas. So his parents and grandparents are big Cowboys fans, and everybody around here. But I brainwashed him to be the right person, the right good guy to be a Niner fan.
Yeah. Well, some people may say I'm brainwashed. I'm born and raised in California, and I'm a huge Cowboys fan.
Oh, see, there you go.
We have family in Texas as well, so
Yeah.
very, very good. So, Kayson, how long have you been playing baseball for?
Since I was pretty much born.
Yeah.
I've been playing baseball since I was 3, and then yes.
Camera's up there too.
All right, very good. And how about basketball? How long have you been playing basketball? And are you still playing basketball?
I've been playing basketball since I was 5, and I'm still playing basketball.
He plays on an AAU team, and concurrently while he's playing baseball. It's not as serious, but he just actually had his first junior high basketball game last Wednesday. And he goes to a large junior high, and they've got 3 teams that they've made. They have A team, B team, and the C team. And Kayson is the on the A team, or starter on the A team. He's one of the best players on there. So he loves basketball. He goes at it hard.
Yeah, I would imagine. I know he's a great athlete all around, so I can imagine he's great on the basketball court as well. Kayson, when it comes to baseball, what do you love most about playing baseball?
I like most competing against my opponent, saying I'm gonna win this battle, and then it feels really good once you accomplish that, and that's pretty much my favorite part of it.
And what's the best part of your game when it comes to baseball, do you think? Right now, where are you excelling the most?
I think my best part is my good how good my hands are in infield work, and my footwork, and how advanced I am in shortstop and middle infield. And
Right.
I can work the bat really well.
That's good to be aware of your strengths and your weaknesses. Where do you think your
where you need the most improvement right now? What are you working on? What's the one thing where you think you can improve on the most right now?
We're on to get like stronger and like, get like bulk, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
He hears it every day. We're, he's a very elite ball player, but he lacks a lot of strength.
Right.
He hasn't hit that growth spurt yet. So he hears it from myself and his mom all day long about his protein shakes and doing the right things to get stronger. He knows it.
So, Kayson, what are you doing, right now to improve in that area or to grow, to get stronger? What are you personally doing?
Like going to like a personal strength coach or like a trainer, and he helps me with like my arms and like lower body to get stronger. And then at home I do like push-ups and sit-ups and bicep curls, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Now, Kayson, why don't you tell us about your invite and participation to the USA Baseball Champions Cup recently?
The ADP?
The ADP?
Yes.
The ADP or the NTIS?
Whichever one you want to tell us about. I know you've been participating in a lot of USA Baseball.
You go to ADP.
All right. So, like on June, I think, I got invited to the top 36 players in the country, and it was called the ADP. And we like they saw our skills and stuff, and we got to showcase how like our fundamentals and like how we did into games and stuff. And that was the ADP. And then the NTIS, we got to show, like, we got picked from our region, and there was 36 kids from each region, and I made it for the South region. We got to compete against other regions in the country. The South, my team, we competed. We went to the championship in the final game in the region, and we played against South California.
And how did you feel throughout that whole process? You feel pretty confident?
Yes, I did really good. I played really hard and competed. I did really good.
Yeah, it was the first time we transitioned to the big field this summer, and BB core bats, and we talked about his strength, and
it's a big difference.
It is, and he hit the ball over the ballpark. He's a fundamental player. He did very, very well. Showed his defensive skills and hit the ball pretty well. So it was a good lead for him.
Well, congratulations and great job on that. And I know you keep working with all the USA program, and you've been invited to a lot of things and trying out, and you're doing a great job. So I just wanted to congratulate you on that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So, Kayson, you're only 13 years old, right? And you've already got to experience so much more than most of the kids in this country when it comes to baseball and being able to travel and participate at the highest levels. And you've played in some pretty huge games already. What's been your biggest and best memory so far?
I would say Cooperstown.
Yeah.
It was like really fun. We like went to New York. We got to experience like the Cooperstown dream. And then my team, the Alamo Drillers, we went to the championship. There's like 12,000 people, 5,000 people there. And then there were
about 4,000 people. There's a lot of people online watching it.
Yeah, 12,000 people online, like 5,000 people like actually watching it in person. Yeah. It was like really fun.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. We were there just 2 years ago with my son, and it's just such an amazing experience. I knew it would be good. I had been there. This was my second time going to Cooperstown, but wow, what an experience just for you guys as 12-year-old ball players. And Marco, I know for you, it must have been a great experience too. Kayson, what did you take away from the Hall of Fame? Did you guys get a chance to spend a little bit of time at the museum?
Yes, we did. It was really interesting and fun to like be around.
It's pretty emotional.
Yeah, it was. We watched this video on baseball, and it was like it was emotional. It was pretty fun. Now we got to see like all the like USA people, the plaques that all the people made to the Hall of Fame. It was a good experience.
Yeah, you guys. So I'm assuming what you're talking about emotional is that video when you start the tour, right? They take you in a room. Yeah,
yes,
I teared up myself watching that.
Yeah.
It takes me back. I'm sure with your dad, it took him back as well, just to being a kid and seeing all the kids from, or the players from our era. It was definitely emotional. So I can definitely appreciate that.
It was.
So Kayson, I want to switch a little bit away from sports and just talk about a little bit about your school. What grade are you currently in?
I'm in 7th grade right now. It's fun to be at school, make new friends, and then like learn. I'm a straight A student, so I have like good grades, and I'm always like working hard to like get into that good A's stuff.
Good.
Like,
That's perfect. That was going to be my next question. Now, I know sports in general, not only football, but just sports in Texas are huge. Tell me about, do you know which high school you're going to be going to? Because it's you're 2 years away from high school. Do you know which one you're going to be going to?
I'll be going to Johnson High School.
Okay.
We're ranked in like one of the top country high schools in the country
For baseball.
for baseball.
Okay.
So yes, sir.
It's a little baseball hotbed. There's 2 schools here. It's called Claudia Taylor Johnson and Reagan High School. And within those 2 schools, it's all the kids who are baseball crazy live in these areas, and they're 2 top. They're always in the final, in the state playoffs in Texas high school. It's very competitive. So it's a pretty big school too.
It seems like it'll be a good fit for you, Kayson.
Yes, sir.
So Kayson, what's your favorite subject in school other than PE or sports?
I'm best at math. That's like my best subject, but I like enjoy science the most. It's like we do fun activities and like projects and stuff. It's pretty fun.
One surprises me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing to see, because I have a son just a year older than you and then a daughter a year younger than you, but it's amazing to see what interests they have and which direction they're going to go. It's definitely fun to watch them develop.
Yeah.
Kayson, what has your dad and mom taught you about education? Why is getting your education and keeping those straight A's as much as possible, why is that going to be important for you?
The main reason it's important for me, so like I get college scholarships, and like if I have good grades, I can get into the colleges that like I want to, and like that helps with MLB, and they look at those grades to see how like smart you are and all that good stuff. Yeah. That's like the main one of the backup plan.
Yeah. And you know how we like to say in our company, numbers don't lie. Mm-hmm. And when you have those good grades, your opportunities grow exponentially as far as the number of schools you can get into and your options. And that's what I always tell my kid, and I know your parents tell you too. You want the better you do, the more successful you are in your athletics. And more importantly, in your school, the more options you're going to have, the more opportunities you're going to have where you can actually make the choices that are going to be good for you. So make sure you keep those grades up. Okay, Kayson?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Kayson, why don't you tell me what you like to do outside of baseball? What do you like to, what type of fun activities with your family, friends? What type of hobbies do you have?
So like, I like going snowboarding. It's like really fun. Like we go every like Christmas and stuff. And I enjoy fishing. I catch, like, me and my dad always go out to the lake by our house, and we always catch, like, big fish and stuff.
Yes, sir. I've seen a couple of those fish.
We also go to church. We always go to church every Sunday with my family, hang out with some friends and stuff and family.
All right, Kayson, why don't you, I want to switch a little bit over to your social media. And social media is becoming a big part of your generation's life. It is just a big part of your everyday life. And we didn't have the opportunities that social media brings, but also the stuff and the problems that it could also bring to you guys. So I want to talk to you a little bit about your social media. And first of all, I'm going to share my screen with you, and take a look at your page, your Instagram page. All right. Can you see it? Can you see your Instagram page?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. So first of all, Kayson, how much do you actually participate on your social media accounts? Is it your parents? Do they oversee it?
I post like I don't post like that much, like exaggeration. Like some people post like every single day and stuff, but then like I just post like what happens like about my life and just like baseball stuff. Like I say I have a good weekend playing baseball, and like my mom catches some videos, and so she'll like send it to me, and then I post it on my Instagram.
Okay. And
And
other than Instagram, you're also on Twitter, right?
yes, sir.
Okay. So you have 11,000 followers. That's a lot of people that are very interested in Kayson Cunningham. How'd you get all those followers?
Honestly, I don't even know, to be honest with you. I like used a lot of hashtags and like started following a lot of people, and that's kind of what got my followers up. That's kind of like the secret to get it up, pretty much.
Yeah, a lot of hashtags, plus the success of the Alamo Driller program, and his success of being a youth, amateur athlete, and the success that he's had. And his mom is a big help with, here's what you need to put for hashtags, and here's how you need to do this. And I mean, it seemed like within 6 months it was over 5,000, and then the next year it was over 10,000. It's like, whoa, this social media thing's crazy. But he'll go places and people will know him, especially in Cooperstown. Like, hey, that's Kayson. That's Kayson Cunningham. And I'm walking with it, and I'm like, that's my son. Like, who?
Yeah.
It's all because of social media. And I mean, yeah, he's a good ball player. He's very talented in what he does. But it's amazing how social media really exploits that and shows his talents, and then kind of gives a personal, glimpse into Kayson and who he is and his family and his friends.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be even bigger as these kids get into college now with the pay to play stuff and being able to monetize your likeness. Before I give you my advice, I'm going to make this advice come from a D1 football coach. Okay. Can you see the screen still?
Yes, sir, I can.
Okay. So this is to recruits. It says social media matters. I have now dropped 15 recruits this year because of their Twitter posts, likes, or tweets. Explicit images, racist words, and demeaning posts are unacceptable. Your thumbs are killing your opportunities. So, I mean, that pretty much says it all. Is whatever you put on social media, and same thing when you're out with your friends and there is no social media, just don't post anything your mom or your dad would not approve of. And that includes when you get to be 35 years old, because so many kids and guys are getting in so much trouble that it could really ruin your future. Just one mistake. And I always tell my kids, just one mistake and it could really derail the track that you're on. So, and I don't see any of that on your page at all, ever. So just keep doing what you're doing. Highlight the things that are good. Highlight, giving your teammates props and highlighting what's good in sports. And you're going to keep exploding, my man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Kayson, one last question before I'm going to switch over to a little bit with your dad, if I can. But this year, we were lucky enough to add you as a Numbers Don't Lie ambassador. And we just started this program. We started it kind of on the fly. We wanted to get some of our athletes that were had a really big influence on social media and who had a positive influence. And we're hoping as we go into next year, we'll be able to do it again and you'll still be on board. What can we do at Numbers Don't Lie for you next year to just make the program better for you? How can we bring you more value as an athlete going into next year as one of our ambassadors?
Thank you, first off.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for your support. Wait, what did you say?
I don't know if he can answer that one. I mean,
can we do more for you?
Yeah.
Do you like the hat?
Oh yeah, that hat. I love that.
Could we do more swag? Could we bring more swag to you? Is there different things we can do that'll just make it more beneficial for you as a Numbers Don't Lie athlete?
Videos, I guess, like kind of more like posting me, I guess, and stuff on your page.
Okay.
And then like the hats were really cool. I like those hats. They're fire.
Okay, if we get some hoodies and some T-shirts and stuff and send those to you, would you wear those?
Of course I would.
He just asked me tonight about hoodies, so
Okay.
Yeah, he's like, "Pop, can I give you a couple more hoodies?" So
Okay, yeah, that's something we want to do, and we're definitely gonna look at getting more videos for you guys, especially maybe the short, quick videos that we can do more often. And we're just trying to make more efficient on our side how to get the videos from you guys in order to edit them. And that's the whole thing about our business and what we're trying to do. So, okay, Kayson, I'm going to ask your dad a few questions. So just sit tight if you could for just a few more minutes, and then we'll come back to you, okay?
All right.
Okay, Mr. Cunningham, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Can you just tell us a little bit about your background as coming up as a player and the different levels you played at, and now as the coach of the Alamo Drillers, one of the top programs in the country on several different age levels now?
Yeah, it's funny. I get a lot of questions about when I was Kayson's age and what I did. And, I was solely a basketball player. I grew up in the Bay Area of California and moved to Colorado shortly before high school. And in Colorado, baseball wasn't the most popular thing, but basketball was very, very popular. So we played a lot of basketball, and I actually played in a basketball scholarship to go to college. So ended up playing baseball at a junior college, playing both sports, and ended up going to Texas Tech University after I started off to go to basketball scholarship. Didn't work out, so I ended up playing baseball there, and then went to Texas Tech afterwards. And I was fortunate enough to do well, made all Big 12, and then led the Big 12 in stolen bases and had some good success there. And I got drafted by the Kansas City Royals. And so I played 4 or 5 years with the Kansas City Royals, got up to the AAA level and ended up actually with a back injury. And it was one of those things where baseball was the hardest job I ever had. Still is the hardest job I ever had, and the dedication and the things that you have to commit to. And made a decision to kind of hang them up. And the baseball was leaving a bad taste in my mouth a little bit. And so about, I'd say 3 years before Kayson was born, I retired from baseball. I didn't touch a baseball, didn't look at baseball, didn't watch baseball. And then once he was born, and I'd say probably about 3 years old, that's all he ever wanted to do. So it brought me back to the game, but into a different light where I loved the game a lot. And we loved it so much where it becomes the fabric in what we do, and it teaches life lessons. It teaches competition, and it's kind of what we do. And it's, I help baseball. Baseball helps me to raise a young man. So we've been really focusing on that. And with that, because of his abilities, we started off with T-ball, we started off with coach's pitch, and then, Kayson, when he was 6 years old, got asked to play on a travel select team, and that was an experience. And then I actually was like, you know what, I want to get involved to coach this the right way. And that's how the Alamo Drillers got started. And we started as a 7U team here in San Antonio, and we've just kind of expanded with some of the better players in our area and in our, Houston, San Antonio, Austin area. And, it's had a lot of success. It's probably the most successful youth baseball program in that age level that anybody's had in the last, 5-6 years. So we've been ranked in the top 1 or 2 in the country consecutively the last 5 years. And, these guys put the work in. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you. And congratulations on all the success as well with the Alamo Drillers. And then prior to that, just your career and everything that you've done in baseball. So again, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Now you've coached for a long time already at the highest levels of youth baseball. And you started when Kayson was very young. What have you learned that has been most beneficial to the development of the players? Maybe it's something you've learned overall, or something you would do different if you were to start all over at the young age groups.
I always second guess myself to say, is it worth it? I'm going to write a book someday about this experience and, kind of guide people in the future. But, you always ask, is it worth it? We do a lot of traveling. It's been a lot of tough decisions to play at that elite level with friends and family and other kids that have played with the Drillers, and you want to make sure you play at the highest level. But the biggest thing I've learned is there's going to be that you can't teach somebody who wants to compete. And when you can put them in an environment that creates the best of the best, you kind of find who the dogs in the world are who wants to be one of those guys to compete. And we've been able to create that environment. And the biggest thing I've learned from that is you get some kids that just thrive in that environment, and you get some kids to say, you know what, maybe it's not for me, but they get the experience and they're all better off for it. So I wouldn't trade it for the world. I've talked to other families and other kids or other teams that, maybe they just play at the lower levels, but their kid's really good, but they just don't put them challenging because they don't want them to fail. And, I want him to fail. I want him to learn from failure. I want him to understand how to improve from failure and play against the best so he can know himself where he stands. And, if anything I've learned out of all that, it's getting him to prepare for the next level and getting him to understand the expectations, what he needs to do to play at that level.
Not every program or every level of competition is for everyone, especially at different age groups. At some point, it may click for some of them. At some point, they may develop more or quicker than others, and you got to find the right fit for your athlete. So, any advice you can give to? Not everyone can play for the Alamo Drillers, but they may want their athletes to play in a program that's going to really just be the best for their athlete that does potentially want to get to the next level, whether at high school, college, or the pros someday. When someone might be looking for a good program for their player, any advice you could recommend to them?
The main thing I always think of is you've got to have the right set of expectations that match the program's expectations and the parents and the players' expectations. I think where things always get wrong is those expectations aren't discussed and they're not expected. And so people just kind of go along hoping for the best. And, it's always a recipe for disaster. But if I can know the expectations of my players' families, I can tell them and try to be as transparent as possible that, here's where I see player A is, here's where I see player B is, and this is the goals that I have for them. And this is what I expect from them. And if they do those things, then it's going to be a glorious relationship, right? And the families are going to enjoy it. But you're talking about youth baseball. So there's a lot of emotion. You think about the most two passionate things that adults are about. It's money and children. And their money and children are heavily involved in travel baseball. And if they don't get the feel-good feeling that their children and money are being well invested in, then it can go salty. So you want to make sure that those expectations are laid out and you're very transparent. And so I would just tell families to make sure that if you're going to look for a program, make sure it's the right fit and don't be afraid to ask the right questions or the questions that even challenge the coaches, because there's a lot of programs out there who just want to make money. There's a lot of programs out there that just want your kid just to use your kid. And you've got to understand what's the right program for your child. And if that's what you're looking for, then that's your expectation. That's good. But sometimes that's not. So you want to make sure that you actually lay those out to make sure it's a good relationship.
Thank you so much for that insight. That's great advice for anyone that's looking for especially a competitive program. So I appreciate that. And I know our audience will as well. Can you give any advice to parents that are trying to, they may have an elite athlete like Kayson, and as they get older, the demands when it comes to baseball and school and family, and then you throw in the the friends as they get older into high school and girls possibly. How do you balance all of that with an elite athlete? How do you find the time? What advice could you give to make sure you're still finding that good balance with your athlete?
I think it's a parent's responsibility to lay out those priorities, and but you can't hold your child's hand 24/7. And I just had a conversation with Kayson yesterday that you are who you are, and you make choices as an individual, and those choices are to be this where you want to be, or your choices can make you be here where you want to be. And sometimes that might be, hang out with your friends, but that also might be, okay, well, let's get some more hacks in the cage, or let's take some ground balls because I want to be the best. And, you can't force kids to do it. And it's because the more and more you force them to do it, they're just going to end up not wanting to do it more. And, and so it's a tough question to answer for me, because I just, as a parent, I push him, but I also want it to come from him. I want him to drive that will that he wants to be great. We talk about social media. He has his friends. He's on Snapchat. He's hanging out with his buddies on, talking on the phone, doing these kind of fun things. But it's like, okay, you're making choices. You have time to do this. And I'll just kind of throw reminders. His mom and I are pretty heavy on him. But eventually, mom and dad aren't going to be there. and he's got to make those decisions that, he wants to be the best he can possibly be. When we're in college, there's going to be no one there to make sure that he gets there early to do early work, or there's going to be no one there to make sure that he gets to the weight room first. Right now, his parents can tell him, hey, this is what you need to do. We're going to get you there, try to create those habits. But if kids just don't want to do it and they have other intentions, they're going to eventually do it. So, you can, as a parent, you try to create the right path, try to create the right habits, but, just understand, don't force it on them, because you're just probably creating a worse scenario anyway. And, my goals for him, I want him to be the best athlete, best player he can be. But eventually over time, if it's something like, Dad, I don't want to do this, it's just not down my alley, then it's not down his alley, right? I'm not going to force him to do it, but I want him to do it. And I think that he has a talent to be great as much as he can.
Well, Marco, why don't you tell me a little bit about Cooperstown? What did you, and I don't know if this was your first year ever going or not. Why don't you just tell us your experience as a coach and as a dad, just the overall experience at Cooperstown?
Yeah, it was an awesome experience. Very well ran, total organization. I mean, I've never been there before. It was our first year, and we got lucky. We weren't going to go to Cooperstown. Kind of as an elite team that we are, we've always heard, oh, the competition's not good. You're just going to waste your time. And then we had other family friends saying, who cares about the competition? The experience, hand down, is the best. You've got to make it. So last year at this time, we actually finalized a ticket to go to Cooperstown, but we were scrambling for all last summer trying to make it happen. And we had some friends that we knew, and they helped us get in. And for these boys, I think as a 12-year-old baseball player, everything that they've had, I mean, Cooperstown, they won the World Series there. They won the championship. They did everything, but these boys have done it all. I mean, the Alamo Drillers have played in the highest level games, done it all. They played on TV, played in national championships. And most of all, the kids will say that Cooperstown was the most fun they've had out of all of it. And, I actually emailed the owners of Cooperstown. They sent me an email, and I sent an email back and said, we're coming back. They've been on TV. They've played in national championships. They've done it all and experienced it all. And they've said that is hands down the best, most fun they've ever had playing baseball. And, they've created that. And for 12-year-olds, I wish I was 12. I mean, it was fun. I stayed in the bumps with them. And I was like, when I first got there, I was like, I got to stay in the bumps with these kids. This is going to be a miserable experience. I didn't want it to end. I mean, it was so much fun hanging out with the boys. We learned how to play, taught them how to play cards. We made up chants, and it was a very, very fun experience. Something I remember for the rest of my life as a coach and as a dad.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm glad to hear that. Like I said, we went 2 years ago, and as a parent, and it was just an amazing experience for our son and the team. And so I'm glad you guys had such a great trip, and to put the icing on the cake, you guys won the championship. So Congratulations, guys.
Yeah.
So Marco, if I could, I just want to just kind of get your take just about our business. Numbers don't lie. And we do highlight videos. One of our very first videos ever was utilizing your guys' clips for Kayson and reaching out to you. And I just saw how refined his skills were and everything. And I wanted to do a highlight video for you guys. And I appreciate you guys, your willingness to buy in on that and, send us the clips, and we did the video. But what role do you see video playing, and not only highlight videos, but as they get older into high school and as they go through the recruiting process, what role do you see like skills videos playing, and how important are they going to be moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, as Kayson said, thank you. You've been a pinnacle part as well, and I think Kayson's social media platform as well. We did send videos at the beginning, and a lot of those videos that he got hits, and it was very popular, the things that you put together for them. And I think it goes in two different phases. Right now, those videos for these youth athletes are really fun for family and friends and other kids alike who are doing the same things for them to enjoy. We're hitting that next stage where Kayson's going to be in high school soon. And, those are going to be videos for, that maybe coaches are going to look for and things, that will help his recruiting process. I think that you guys have a great platform to highlight if you can continue to find some of the better athletes, and showcasing them. There's not a lot of people who are going to do that, right? And so I think it's great this whole recruiting process is completely different from when I know it. You know, when I was younger in high school in the recruiting process, it was just phone calls and letters. You just got phone calls and letters. And that was, you know, you didn't know anybody, you didn't see anybody, you just read and you talked to them on the phone. And now kids are so, and coaches are so much more informed on everything. And it's because of the platforms that you have. You can tell a kid's footwork or kind of see how a kid throws a football, and you can see video highlights. The thing that always scares me about social media, and we're guilty of it with Kayson, is it doesn't always highlight the bads of each player, right? Or the things that they struggle with. So, you know, it at least gets people to the doorstep, but, you know, sometimes I always call it fool's gold. You know, like say I'm evaluating a player for the Drillers, you know, I'll get all kinds of videos sent to us, like, hey, this kid's in Houston, he wants to come play, and I'll see him like, oh, that's a nice swing. We'll get him a workout, and it's not it's handpicked, right? And so I think it's all guilty of that we all fall in that trap. But the more video and the more type of product that you can see, that you can put out there, I think is better for for recruiting purposes in the future, and then also just for fun for families and friends. I mean, the video that you posted, we got a lot of friends that said, "Oh, that's awesome! How did you guys get that?" And you know, we bragged about you guys, and it's fun because, you know, these guys are little and they love to experience that kind of stuff. It makes them feel like they're in the big leagues.
And I appreciate that. Absolutely. And yeah, we're just, you know, our number one goal is to be able to highlight anyone, any kid at any level that wants to get highlighted. And hopefully as they get older, they could utilize us to, you know, put together that skills video for them. What would you tell someone who is looking to work with us at Numbers Don't Lie, with our company? What would you tell them your experience has been working with Numbers Don't Lie?
I mean, you've been nothing but graceful with us. I mean, we really don't know each other well, but we feel like we know you. I mean, we've talked to you the last couple of years, and you've really helped Kayson with his, you know, putting him and advertising him. And, you know, I'll see things on social media and I'm like, hey, that's Kayson. And I'll look, I'm like, oh, that's from Numbers Don't Lie. I don't even expect it, but you put it out there. And so, you know, if, you know, families, like I said, parents, we're guilty of it. We love our children. And, you know, and even in the future when they get to high school, and you've created a platform to where parents and families can share that and they can see it, and especially with elite athletes, you know, they're gonna get more of that, the longer they get. I mean, when they play in college or they play professionally, of course they're gonna get that, but you're making a lot of kids, I think, dreams come true, and families are really hopefully investing in that and making sure like, oh man, these videos are great, and they can remember it for a lifetime. Even if it's for a purpose of recruiting, or if it's just something you can stash on a hard drive and watch 20 years down the road, because it's gonna, you know, it's your child, and it's a lot of fun.
Thank you. And I want to thank you for, you know, being willing to be on the podcast today and interview with us. I also want to congratulate you and your wife on raising such an amazing young man. Kayson, he's well-spoken here, and we're going to finish up with him, but I want to just thank you guys and congratulate you on the good young man you're raising.
Appreciate that. And thank you for all your support. We really, really appreciate that.
Absolutely. All right, Kayson, you ready for our final four rapid fire?
Yes, sir.
All right. What's your one big goal for the next year?
Let me think. I have lots of goals for them. But
All right. What's one goal for your hitting in baseball?
Trying to get stronger, like hit it over like people's heads and like get it to that, you know, get stronger and stuff.
All right. So building your strength.
Mm-hmm. And one of my main goals is to make it for the 15U national team, USA Baseball.
Okay.
That's like one of the big goals for this next year.
Okay. And when are those tryouts?
This coming summer.
Okay.
They have the 14U player development program that we has to still make, and that enters into the 15U national team. And then next summer, if he doesn't make the 14U, or if he doesn't get into the 15U, he has another opportunity. So it's a big process that he's working at.
Okay. Yeah. And I know you've been working on that process, and just keep going at it. I know that's a huge goal for you. So you'll get there. Just keep grinding.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Kayson, who's your favorite athlete and why?
My favorite athlete is LeBron James, because he's just like so good at basketball, and he's a leader and stuff. And I
That's
just
it?
like his style, and he's like, I don't know, I just like the way he I don't know, he's just like my favorite athlete.
He's the GOAT,
Yeah,
right?
he's like the greatest of all time.
Yeah, he's a GOAT. So you got there's not much you need to say on that. Okay. Kayson, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received from a coach or a parent?
I would say the best piece of advice is to if someone tells you that you can't, prove them wrong. And that's kind of what pushes me to that's what pushes me.
All right, Kayson, where can people follow you and find out more about your sports journey?
Instagram, that's the
What's
main
your
part.
score?
Okay, and what's your Instagram name?
Oh, Kayson_Cunningham_baseball 6.
All right, my man. We'll put that in all of our show notes as well. And I want to thank you both again for being with us. And that's it for the interview. I really appreciate it. And you guys have a great night. Thank you.
You too. Thank
Awesome,
you.
PJ. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Be great.
All right.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
That's a wrap for show number 4. Thank you for joining us for another episode. Please subscribe, rate, review, and share this episode with someone that may enjoy it. Take a screenshot of the show and post it and tag us on Instagram. Let us know that you're listening. Join us over on any of our social media platforms and let us know what you thought about the show. Any and all feedback is welcome. We want this to be the best show possible for you, our audience. Until our next episode, go out and win the day and never miss your opportunity to be great. Thanks for listening to Highlighting the Best of Youth Sports at www.numbersdon'tlie.biz.